even for us.
I'll do that, and then you can always look at it. That's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to share the screen. Right. So this is my business called Biking Bookkeeper. My business is 15 years old, so I've done it for a while. And then we started XERO probably 8 years ago. So we fully paperless and we really like it. So that's why I thought I'm going to share the knowledge I have on XERO, and I will take it from there. So I am going to hide this floating meeting control. Right. So at the moment, XERO always offers a month free trial. So if you have got a pricing, that at the moment, there are few packages, depending how many items you're going to use or you need to process. We've got access to a product which is for this value, but it offers you all this if you don't want to get involved, like you don't need to send sales invoices or quotes, or you don't need to get involved. I've got clients who are not interested in getting involved in XERO. So there's always an option for, a bookkeeping practice offering you a full package for the half of the price because we get the discount. Right. So when I start with the floating meeting controls, right. So I'm going to open the demo company. Okay. But what you usually do if you want to start the trial, there's always an option to try XERO for free. That gives you a month, you sign up, and then after a month, you start paying whatever package you decide. But initially, it will give you a, when you log in, you will see no bank account. So you always need to set them up, set up your business, what you do, name, industry. So what it will navigate you, to this dashboard and then this dashboard on the bottom. So you start uploading like your logo and stuff. So let's start with the organization details. And this is the information which is usually on your,
Invoice.
Admit them. So you set up, so you upload your logo and put your name of the company. So that saves you when you do templates on invoicing or chasing money or reminders, that will always appear on your invoices. This is for you to upload the logo you had, so you just drag and drop. And then here you say what type of industry you do. Usually you use your SIC code, so the SIC code, which you had on company's house. Hi everyone, I thank you for joining just the later ones. What we decided to do, I start from scratch, but if there's any specific question you have, just let me know, and I will try to answer them. But what I was going to say, so there's a 30-day trial on XERO. Oh, sorry, here. These are the pricing. Some of the bank accounts offer a half a year free of XERO as well, if you were interested to know which they are. So you fill up your details and try it how it works. And then the packages you can have. So they're based on the amount of paperwork you need to process, or if you use any foreign currency. But otherwise, they all allow you bank feeds. They allow you taking payments by card or linking to other softwares like your management software for taking bookings, Go Cardless to take money, or Stripe. So they're not limiting. Sorry about that. And then you can have as many users as well, because there's loads of softwares when you need to pay for additional user, but these are unlimited users for whatever package you use. So when I was saying you start your trial and you fill up your information, and whatever information you put here will appear on your invoices, on your reminders, or any correspondence you'll be sending from XERO. And then once you set this all up, so you can put your SIC description here or whatever you want to use, and your address. So obviously now you can have a postal address which is different to your postal address is your registration address, which you can find on Companies House. And then if you have an office, you can put the address there so your clients or suppliers know and have the right information. And it comes back to the telephone numbers or email and website. So I do recommend to set it up as soon as you log into your XERO so it's not missing on your correspondence. Once you've got it, you save it up and all is done. So whenever you produce an invoice or send a reminder or a quote, that will be on it. And obviously with that logo as well. So that's one of the first things you set up when you're starting your business. But then the next one you need to do, it's your financial year. So in general, because as financial year as an individual, as you know, you get your P60 on the 5th of April every year. So we usually shorten every year to the 31st of March. So it goes nicely with your individual tax return because you will be filing your tax return as a director. So it's nice to have if you were employed by a limited company, that's what we do. However, if you do decide to keep to the year, you can always change it to whatever financial year you want. But obviously, then you need to keep it that way.
No, we didn't get paid from our company.
Okay.
Sorry? Hello? Okay, so you don't necessarily have to, you can adhere to the dates given by Companies House, but you can always shorten it if you wanted to change the dates, or your accountant can change it prior to submitting your year-end account. So it doesn't matter, you're flexible on the year ends. And then if you
Alice, sorry. On the first page, when you showed us basic information, can you change it later? Let's say if you change your address or something.
Yeah, of course you can. You can always go back and change it to whatever you need, because it makes sense. You need to have the current information when you send invoices out, or you set up your bank account. So and you want to inform your suppliers or your clients of your address. So it's nice to have it all up to date. So we'll automatically speak all your templates. So all the information shown there, they will speak to the templates. So I'll show you on an invoice the information, what they look like. If you did go down the route of registering for VAT, this is where you would put your VAT number. So then the system will know that you need to either link that number to VAT for MTD to file your VAT return. So this is just the software, but the software will allow you to submit your VAT under this number. So then HMR and Customs knows that you filed it and expects money to pay your VAT or refund you if there's any claim of the VAT. So this is the basic information you need to know. There's other information you can play with, but I'm not gonna overwhelm you with that. I think the basics are just put the data in and put the year end and potentially your VAT number. Right, okay, so there are a few things how to navigate yourself. So you can set up your dashboard, what you want to see first. You can play with it, you can edit it. You say, okay, at first I want to see my bank account, or I want to see my outstanding invoices if there are any, depending how you run your business. Like I don't really have any outstanding invoices for my accommodation because I get paid before anybody goes in. So then it's unnecessary to see that, but you can adjust it the way you want it. And then you can move these around, or you can untick it. I don't want to see it. I don't need it because they'll be showing, be nothing showing. Right, so the next thing, so you've got your company set up. Now we're going to have a look at your bank account. So we want to set up a bank account. So when you first log in, you will see nothing. You will see just this button, add bank account. So I'm in the demo company, just in case anybody has already set it up. So you add your bank account. So you opted for some bank account, either if it's Barclays, Starling, Tide, it doesn't matter. So you type the bank you already got bank account with. And then what XERO does, because it's quite clever, it asks you if you want to connect to your Tide bank account or Starling or whichever bank you chose, Barclays, Lloyds. And it directs you to your login details, and then you follow the instructions. Once you follow the instructions, the bank account will appear within your bank accounts and will feed all the information to XERO. So that means that every day, every item line you've got on your bank account will show on XERO. There's only one way stream, so the XERO can't pay from your bank account, but the bank will be pushing the information into XERO. So you don't need to log into your bank account. You will see the information in XERO on a regular basis. If there's some delay, you can always refresh it. I'll show you how it's done. Sorry, that's mine. Demo. Okay. So go back. So now your Tide will appear here, and it will say Tide on the name or the name of the bank account. It could be your business name, depending how you want to call it. If you've got few bank accounts, you can always change the names. So you can say, okay, this is my, I'm a profit first professional. So we've got separate bank account for income. We've got separate bank account for operational expenses. I've got tax account. I've got VAT account. I've got all separate. So we control our finances very well. So you can have as many bank accounts as you want in XERO, and you can name them whatever you want, or it will take the information from the name of your bank account and copies that. Okay, so you've got the bank account set up. These are the bank details which are going to be taken from your logins. And then on a regular basis, you will see the bank feeds. So every time there's a new item, this number of
recording in progress.
Sorry? Okay. So this number will increase every time there's a new spending or new money received. Okay, so and then you add up as many bank accounts you need. You can also set up a credit card and also a personal. So if you're a person who pays by cash a lot and you think, well, this doesn't have bank feeds, so you can do personal cash, whatever. You can call it whatever you want, and you can direct all the receipts you paid by cash or by personal account, because I know sometimes we, forget that we have a business account, or we forgot the business card at home and you really need to purchase something, or, especially at the beginning, it just happens. There might be overlap of personal cards being used. So you can add any account or petty cash or whatever you want to call it in. And this is where you can pay your receipts from. So I'm going to call it personal cash account. I can copy the same thing. And we usually set it up as other. And then obviously it will want some bank account of you. So we usually put zeros because it's not going to let you through without setting up the account number. So you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. It doesn't matter. It's just for you to be able to set it up. And then what you can do then, you can direct all the payments you paid by cash or personal card into this bank account, so you don't miss out on the expenses. Okay, because you're a limited company, so you need to keep track of all the money you spend. I assume that people are setting up limited companies or limited liability partnerships, but this also applies to sole traders. So if you do decide to have a business bank account, but you occasionally spend money by cash, it's still the same. There's no difference. Okay, so and then this account will appear there, and then you can change the location for the account, whichever order you want to see it. So you can move them down, move them up. So you don't need to scroll if you've got 7, 8 bank accounts plus 3 credit cards. So you can put them in order you want. So you got the bank account set up. And then as soon as you refresh it, it will give you that many items on your bank account from the start, usually. Okay, especially if it's a new business, it will upload all the items. It might happen that all the bank items don't appear on your XERO, and maybe a few months missing. That can happen. There are ways around it. You can always import the difference. If anybody was interested in that, I can show you, but I think it might be some complicated for some. So, but I'm just saying it's an option. So if your bank feed isn't working 100%, you can always export bank account into CSV file Excel and then upload it later for the missing items. Okay, so that is, it's not end of the world if all the bank feeds aren't working. So so we set up the bank account. The next thing is setting up your contacts. So your contacts will be your suppliers and contacts might be your clients. Is everybody here on service accommodation, or are there any landlords on HMOs, or what? Can you type down what strategies you're taking so I can get sort of an idea?
Probably BRR.
Hello.
So, hi, sorry, I was going to say hello, it's Jana.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing buy rent refurbish. So potentially a lot of expenses kind of coming through my account.
What did you say? Sorry.
So I'm going to be doing refurbishment. So
refurb.
coming
Okay.
through the account. Yeah. So unless I get a company credit card, when obviously there'll just be like the monthly deduction. At first, when it's just coming through the business bank account, there'll be lots of B&Q and Magnet and Screwfix and all of those kind of places. So
okay. Oh, well, that's you know, it doesn't matter if you paid it by a gift card, because I like myself I have got access to like 7% on gift cards, so the receipts could have gone through something else rather than your bank account. So this is exactly the personal account you'll be using for, you know, that it's not outstanding, it's been paid, and then you can process it. But I'll show you how it will be allocated at a later date. So this is great. So your contacts will be B&Q. It will be mainly your suppliers, and then your client will be somebody who's going to buy it, so you can have it as a reference there. I mean, you didn't necessarily will need to send an invoice for selling the property, but there will have to be link between the money received and that person, so that person will be set up as a contact at a later day once you're selling the property. Okay. So what you do, so there's a plus here. With the plus, you can go quickly to create a new sales invoice, create a new purchase invoice, and set up a contact. So from the normal accounting software, we would say will be suppliers and will be clients or customers. But in here, it doesn't matter, because you can have a customer and a supplier on the same name. So they link it nicely together, and then it shows report, which are sales invoices and purchase invoices. So here in XERO, they call it contact. So before you invoice somebody or set up somebody, invoice somebody or receive an invoice from, it's good to have them set them up. So it doesn't, it's just nice and neat, especially if you got some prior conversation like with a quote, or you came into like a better relationship. So you can set them up here. So in our case, you can put B&Q. That has to be there. It might be if you got a credit account, you can have a person you deal with. You know, I know how B&Q works, but if you had like a stonemason and then it was Mr. Smith, so you can put Jason Smith and his email address, you know, you can use it for the later correspondence. So okay. Let's say we got Mark Smith, and his email address will be marksmith@diy.com. Okay, you can put his telephone number, and once it's done and saved, he's set up. as your contact. What happens is that if you do then send invoices or receive invoices, you can click on that contact. Okay, you can click on that. This is the contact, and then you can straight away send a sales invoice or purchase purchase invoice. So in New Zealand, they call it sales invoice and bills. So bills are the invoices you received, and sales invoices the invoices you sent. So it might be your builders, you know, and you can save the quotes in here. Just keep a track of it. So this is set up how you set up the contacts. So when it comes to receiving bills, so there are a few options. So you've got your B&Q invoice, and you can put it here through bill. And then you say, I've got B&Q invoice. The date on this is 20th of August. Obviously, I paid for it on the same day, unless I'm on credit and they give me a month, because I've got clients who do that. And then you put whatever reference you want, B&Q 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what you can do with drag and drop, you can attach that receipt into it. So you take I've got this, so you can take that document and upload it. But also you can use the telephone app, but I can show you that later how it works. And then you put what you're buying. So it's always good to put a reference, so it's easy to search what you're buying. So you can just put material, but maybe for easy search, you put gravel. And then you put gravel, and it costs you £250. And then you put it within purchases, because in a flip, it will be your direct expense. If you had an office and you just did drive, it will be some sort of a repair and maintenance. But in your case, it will be a direct cost. So we'll put it in purchases, or you can put it as a direct expense. It's up to you where you're located. Obviously, it's important to select correct VAT. So if you're not going to be VAT registered, like I said, at the settings in here, you set up if you're VAT registered or not. So if you weren't VAT registered, you just put none. And then the system is not going to be offering you any VAT. If you put your VAT in there, the system will be offering you if you want to claim VAT on your bill. Okay, so to save yourself time, always set up the system correctly, because you don't want to be clicking every time you set up a bill if there's a VAT or not. So again, this business is not VAT registered, so there's no VAT, and you approve it. So the next time when there's a bank account payment of, let's say, £3,000 you pay for all the invoices, you will link it to the supplier. So, and I'll show you how. So you set up all the invoices, put them there. Then if you wanted to see who you owe money, you go to business, and then under invoices, you can see your outstanding sales invoices, and under bills, you will see your outstanding suppliers invoices. I think in our case, it will be mainly outstanding suppliers invoices, unless somebody's like an HMO or it's got long-term tenants. I think that's what we're going to be concentrating more on, unless you're going to be dealing with some big contractors who send their employees to stay in your property and they will be on credit. But I think it's unlikely. I think everybody wants to be paid upfront before you get somebody in. Or is anybody else looking for some strategy how to collect money from their clients, customers, visitors? No, so I'll stick to the bills because the principle is the same. So if you wanted to, so you collect all your bills, either manually or we use facility, which is called Dext. So Dext helps us to upload documents very quickly. So what we do with Dext, it's an app where it stores all your documents, because Xerox is great. You will have, all the bills there, but you also need to store them somewhere else, because if you ever decided to close your business or change the software, you need to download each bill one by one. But if you use facility like Dext, you can upload the whole year in one document. So you will download all the pictures as one document and an Excel as a cross-referencing. So you'll find the bills because you need to keep 5 years worth of accounts, even though your company or your business ceases trading. Okay, so or you first save them on OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Drive and then upload them to Xero. That's also an option, but always make sure you got it stored somewhere else on top of Xero. Okay, because if it goes, something happens to Xero or your data, you will have to have it one by one downloaded. On the other hand, with Xero, if you cease trading and you close your subscription, you need to give them a month notice to close the subscription. You can always renew it. They keep it for 6 years. So I suppose to a certain extent, you can rely on Xero. If HRM Customs does the check, 4 years later, you cease trading, you can always ask Xero to renew the subscription and pay for that month whilst HRM Customs is doing the check. And then you will have all the receipts there. But it's just in case you decide to change the software, it's just better to have it all in one place. And we use Dext for it, okay? Initially, we started on OneDrive and then we moved it to Xero, but OneDrive it's for synchronizing has become very unreliable and it didn't synchronize well and it just looked stupid with the client. So we opted for Dext. So it's not free, but it's a fantastic facility. You've got access to the web interface on your phone. You just take a picture and then it speaks to your Xero directly. You can search. You've got access to your paperwork 24/7. It is a fantastic product and we offer it to our clients and they love it. So every time you upload a document, I just went to Halfords today and then I just took a picture of my document. And then this exact receipt is gonna get attached to the £44, which will appear on my bank account later. And I'll link it with the £44. So then I will have the receipts and the bank, and then you will see an attachment and it just looks really nice, especially if you've VAT registered and HRM Customs is doing checks. It's just so much better if you got receipts for every single spending you make and then link it to your Xero software, because you get one check and they will never bother you again because they see you've got receipts for everything, especially if you've got registered business. So, but Xero also allows you to have an app where you can take a picture and then link it to your bank at a later date. So don't worry, you don't need to pay for Dext. Xero allows you to do exactly the same thing, and I'll show you later how it works on the app. Anyway, so if you go to the business and the bills, here will be all the invoices and all the receipts you either took a picture of or you received it by email and attached it. So that this is all the outstanding invoices, okay? And they sit here until you either say, I paid it by cash. So you go to that invoice and you say, I paid it by cash on the same day. And then you paid it by, so here you select the bank account. That's the bank account we set up earlier, okay? Because the bank feeds, what I show on the bank before, will be only information which are on your bank account. But this one we paid by cash. So it would sit there forever because there will be no bank feeds showing £250 paid by B&Q. So you have to, unfortunately, go to the invoice and pay it manually. But that's okay. We advise our clients, even though you go to the post office and pay 36 pence, or maybe it's now more, 50 pence for a stamp, paid by card, because you always got to track. If you do lose the receipt, it happens, but at least you've got the item on your bank account, okay? And just use your business bank card for every business purchase. It's just a good practice to keep it separate, but just pay by the card, because I don't know many major businesses who would say you only accept cash. So you link it, so you direct that cash purchase to your personal sort of personal account set up on Xero. Okay. And then you just put cash. So we know it's paid and it's no longer outstanding. So when you go to the business and outstanding bills, now it's gone because it's been paid. These are only outstanding. If you ever wanted to see all the invoices you had, you just click on all. So these are all the invoices you ever received, or the receipts you received, or you can put your mileage in there, you know, collect all the, if you're a director or you've got employees who claim their mileage, they can also have their account here as a supplier, and then you can collect it and pay it once a month. So you don't need to, you know, you save yourself time if you pay like fortnightly or monthly rather than irregularly throughout the month. So it's a good practice to just do that. So what you can do, you can sort them out according to alphabetical order. So if we go awaiting payment, I'll sort them out here and say, okay, so I'm gonna today pay the Power Direct and the Smart Agency. And then it will add them up for you. So if I do make a payment, it will tell me how much, sorry. It will tell me how much it will mark them off paid. So you don't need to do one by one. So you say, you can send this report to somebody who does your bookkeeping as well and say, can you just pay these? Like we've got clients who we pay, who tell us who to pay, we access their bank account and we pay it on their behalf. So you just mark the report and tell somebody to pay it, or you just do it yourself. And they marked of paid, you go to your bank account and pay your suppliers. So that's a way to do it. But the other way is that you pay them because you know they're outstanding, but then you go to your bank account and you can mark them paid through the bank account. So let's say we took your tithe and we linked it. So on the 1st of July, you paid fast pay, and then you received some money from employees of Ridgeway University who's renting your property, and they paid you. So you've got an invoice for £6,000. You can view it here and the invoices. So that would be your supplier who, so you've got an agreement with the Ridgeway University and you produced an invoice. And like I showed with the B&Q, the invoice, it's exactly the same to produce as the bill. So you select your client, you put the date of the invoice, the due date of the invoice. The reference is automatic. If you were interested how to set up different invoice references, that can be done. This is just a standard setup by Xero. You can put any reference, so you can put like the address of the property they were staying in. If you get like 5 properties and then 5 different employees staying, you know, from Ridgeway University doing some research, so you can put the reference in there. And you can have different templates. I've got clients who deal with America, so he's got invoices in dollars. Some clients got invoices in euros, so he doesn't have to worry about it. He just selects the template. It will change the currency, so you can have as many templates as you want, so you save yourself time. The setup obviously takes some time, but once you set it up, you know, it's very smooth. And then here you can either type what's happening. So they're staying from, you know, 1st of July to the 30th of July, and you charge for that one person. Or you can also set up some standard text. So I add another line, and you can, rather than typing it every time, you can select various type of services you offer, or products. It doesn't matter. So if it's something which repeats on a regular basis, you can set it up here. So you can add it, and then you can set up the code you want to search. So it's like 2 letters. So you just type the 2 letters and it will offer you all the different description of the services you offer. Also, it selects different VAT. So let's say you might be offering some services which are not subject to VAT, or some subject which are reverse charge, or whatever. It depends what you do. Yeah, okay, because we can have some domestic reverse charge when you convert a property, for example. and you're going to be VAT registered. So when it comes to subcontractors, that applies to it. So it depends what you do. It will save you time, and also you can direct it to a specific nominal account. So this sales invoice could be for sales, but in our case could be long-term accommodation. Then we can have a 2,201 could be short-term accommodation, or it could be just, you know, you can do some training when it comes to accommodation. It doesn't matter. So you can set it up, and then you never have to type it again. So that just give you an example how you can save time on producing sales invoices. So we've got this invoice outstanding, and now we went to the, where was I? We're gonna go to the bank account. So you're in the bank account, and then you've got what the system does. It first have a look. It compares this item to any outstanding invoices. So this is just a suggestion. It says, do you think this is the same as this? And you say, yes, it is. And you okay it. So what happens now is there is no item outstanding to reconcile because it's gone, but also that invoice is now paid. So when I go back to the invoices, the Ridgeway invoice will no longer be seen here. Okay, yeah, it's gone. And then when you have a look at the Ridgeway here, that's the invoice we had. Now it says paid. Okay, so it will automatically pay it for you. So you don't need to go to the invoice paid manually and then link it to XERO. If you do this step, this is the fastest way how to mark the invoices paid. If you see this send here, okay, what I really like about XERO, if you do send sales invoices, every time you produce a new invoice, let's say we're gonna go Ridgeway University, and we're gonna send them another invoice paid in 5 days. Okay, and then it's for, doesn't matter what it is for. And I just approve it. And once you email it to them, I just approved it. It goes to sales, I'm not registered, it doesn't matter. So now you've got this history here. And every time you send an invoice or do any changes to it, it tracks it. So if I now say, oh, I've forgotten another line, or anybody else is working with you, it shows who made what change, when the invoice is produced, but also once you email it, so I can email it to myself. Once I email it to myself, okay, and I refresh it, it says email successful. If I refresh it, it will say that Alice, because I'm logging as Alice, send the invoice on this date. Then once I view it, it will show it got viewed. And this is the lovely thing, because some clients say, oh, I can't pay it because I never received it. And I say, hang on a minute, you viewed it on the 23rd of August at 8:32. So don't tell me you haven't received it. So straight away, you know what type of client you're dealing with. Obviously, maybe that's not the conversation you're going to have, but you know he's lying, because you will see it, he viewed it. So when I go to the email, I'll show you the experience the client is going to have. You send the invoice. Once my Outlook starts, it's not doing anything, sorry. Right. So it's gonna work now. Once it shows, sorry, I think I've got some issue with my Outlook. So what happens is with the invoices, once I viewed it, so we see it says send. Once I view it, it says viewed. So you can track the sales invoices, and they will, without looking in each invoice description, okay? So here it shows if it's been sent, if it's been viewed, but also if you do send reminders, you can set up automatic reminders. It will tell you how many reminders have been sent if the client still haven't paid. So on the first view, you see what you need to know about that invoice. And if somebody else is looking after the invoices and should send them, you say, well, hang on a minute, why you haven't sent this invoice? And it's like, I sent it. It's like, no, you haven't. At least they haven't sent it by email. If they send it by post, they need to mark it manually as sent. And then it's done, because some people don't have emails, unfortunately, still. So you do preview, This is how the invoices look. This is how it looked when it's printed. And then you can print it as, if you wanted to print it, send it by post, you mark it as sent manually. And then it will show on the system it's been sent. Obviously hoping somebody put it in an envelope and sent it. So if I go back to the invoices, the boom should show as sent now. You see that, right? Okay, so this is the sales invoices and purchase invoices with it. And now we're going to do the bank reconciliation. I wanted to show first. So you see how it talks to each other. So this would be, so you received an invoice for Truxton property and you paid them. So you now retrospectively can mark it off again. So rather than going to the invoice and mark it as paid like we did with the B&Q, you can do that. And then we'll pick up on it. That's why the word payment, as you can see. So somebody's gone to the invoice, marked it as paid and directed it to this bank account. And then the XERO picks up on it. So that's why it's suggesting it, because it's in the same date, is the same name, and is the same value. Okay, sometimes it's not picking up. And there may be a few reasons. So the reason might be you don't have an invoice, okay? You just don't have an invoice. Or you may be paying 4 or 5 invoices. So let's have a look if you got invoice from Smart. This system has got invoice from Smart. So we search for Smart. If Smart was a UK company, you can also search within EU invoices and it will show you dollars, it will show you euros. It depends who your suppliers are. So we decided to pay Smart. So you sometimes pay 1 invoice and 1 value. Sometimes you pay 2 invoices in 1 payment, or sometimes you pay half an invoice. So you pay part of an invoice, and the software allows you to do that. So in this case, you pay 2 invoices at once. That's why it's not picking up on it. So what you do, you highlight the 2 invoices you're paying. So you could have gone through the batch payment like I showed initially. So you go through your outstanding invoices, select the 2 Smart invoices and paid. And then it would pick up on it. It would say PayMate Smart 4,500. We didn't do it because this is the fastest way. We paid it first and now we mark it off as paid. So we select the 2 invoices. Now, okay, done. So it disappears from the unreconciled items and the 2 invoices are marked as paid. So then when you go back to the outstanding invoices, it's no longer there. Right, okay, so now we've got city limousines. So let's have a look if we got city limousines here, and he only paid £100 because I think I had some issue with this delivery and I don't really want to pay 250. So you select and then you hit this split button and you say, I'm just paying the 100 off. So this invoice will be partially paid and there'll be £150 outstanding. And it also will be showing on your outstanding invoices. So next time you pay, you can pay, let's say £400 and you pay this and this invoice. So now we just mark the £100 off. So it doesn't matter, yeah, if you pay part or 2 invoices at once or 1 invoice at once, you always have a way how to mark it off. Right, and then you continue, and the same applies to clients. So there's a guy who pays you deposit. So deposits are not subject to VAT if you are VAT registered. So there are ways to do sort of overpayment and deposits. I can show you, but obviously it may not be something you need to know. So we've got them set them up, and then we do a prepayment, and you can put a reference. It will be 120 High Street, and you pay deposit for accommodation. And then you can put it in deposits. If you got, no, we haven't got anything like that. So I'll put it in sales at the moment, but you would set up an account called deposits, although we can do it now. We can set up an account called deposits, so you can keep a track of people having deposits. So you pay your deposits to secure accommodation. So in our case, it will be a current assets, We're gonna select, let's say 150. Let's see, it's free. It is, and it will be deposits received. And then you can put a description in, deposits, deposit from clients or accommodation. Or, you know, if Joe wants a deposit from potential interest, non-refundable deposit, then you can put it all there. And this is there because it's not a taxable income as yet. It's not subject to VAT as yet. So you don't want to mess your VAT return if you were VAT registered, because it's not really money you can deal with until, you know, either falls through and then you turn it into income because it's non-refundable deposit, or you turn it into sales once the sale goes through. Accommodation, and there's no VAT, and we save it. So you can do that. You can direct the money wherever you want. How's it going, by the way? Am I talking too much? Or is there anything else? This is the main. So you need to set up bills, sales invoices, and reconciliation. Does it sort of make sense, everyone? You can type it if you don't want to.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything like you're not clear about, or you sort of tried XERO, but you think, oh, I just don't really know how to deal with it, or how to do a credit note, or had this example, but I just don't know how to sort it?
Yeah, I think the one question I've probably got for you, Alice, is so if you're going out for, as an employee, I would normally put this under like subsistence or something like that.
Okay.
So if you're meeting an investor in Starbucks, or you're doing our networking in Green Park or something like that, do you have to set up an account for each of those places, or do you just put them under one general kind of expenses line?
Right. So what I really like, and I got, because you're going to be meeting at various places. So sometimes you go to Costa, sometimes you go to Starbucks. Okay. Sometimes you just go to, I don't know, a Toby Cavalry. It doesn't matter. So it is quite time consuming to set it up every time. So what is really nice, so let's say you met in Cooper Street Bakery, right? But I don't think you might go there again, and then and then you do some parking. So for this, I usually do travel or meeting. So rather than have supplier as Cooper Street Bakery. And then what I would recommend to keep the receipt anyway. So if you uploaded the receipt, this would be green, and you just do okay. But if you think, you know what, I can't be bothered, I don't have the receipt, I've forgotten to take a picture of it. So what we're going to do with XERO, you can set up something called like a rule. So, every time you go to Cooper Bakery or you go to Starbucks, it will be a meeting. Yeah, unless like you don't have an office, you can do some sort of office work. It's up to you how you set it up. So what you do, this is called bank rules, and it will save you time. So what I usually do, I set up something, a client called meeting, okay? And it will include all the Starbucks, all the parking, all the traveling. And I set it up as a client. So it's not going to have an email, it's not going to have an address, but it doesn't matter. It will still collect the correct nominal account. And what you can do, what I usually do, I select any text field, because every bank has got a different. Sometimes they've got the word Starbucks in the payee. Sometimes in payee could be card, and in description could be Starbucks, or you change the bank and they've got it the other way around. So what I usually do, I set up every bank rule to any text field. Okay. And obviously, sometimes you've got the date in there. You can have some little short reference, which varies every time the word Starbucks appear. So I do contains. And then this is whatever appears on your bank account. So it could be Costa. It could be Starbucks. And it could be parking. Okay. So you can have as many as here. You can keep continuing. So rather than setting up bank rule 1 for Cooper and then save it, then 1 bank rule for Costa and then save it, you can keep adding here which you've been to these places and you're just gonna use them for your meetings. So it's gonna be Toby Carvery. You don't need to do Carvery. We just want to see that every time the word Toby or parking, Starbucks or Costa appears on the bank account anywhere within the fields, please put it against my meetings. It will suggest it, so you don't have to use it that way every time, but it will suggest it for you. And now you will see how it works. So what you then have to do, you need to select what you're doing. So let's put the meeting with clients and suppliers. And you can put it under travel. I usually put it under travel. You can use the subsistence, it doesn't matter. It will go within the same group on the year-end accounts. So I don't really, because it's nice to be able to analyze the accounts, but sometimes it could be just too much. So I just put it under traveling because the accountant will do anyway. Obviously here, they might be VAT registered, but you shouldn't be really claiming VAT on, items you haven't got a receipt for. So this is set up for not having a receipt, okay? But if you did download the Costa, the receipt will have a priority before the bank rules. So you will see how that works. If you are VAT registered, for non-receipts, you set 0 rated expenses. If you're not VAT registered, obviously you put no VAT, okay? So let's put 0 receipts. You can track it. Also, if you had dotted properties through the country, so you said it relates to my properties in Northwest, so you can do that as well. Anyway, so I'm gonna call it meetings, and then we're going to leave that. And then if you get more bank accounts, so you don't need to set up the bank rule for every different bank, because you might pay the bakery from credit card or from this card. I usually do all bank accounts, and then it applies to all the banks. So again, you save yourself a lot of time rather than setting up the bank rule for each bank view, and you save it. So now XERO is looking at it and says, okay, so it looks like there is no receipt. So do you think you want me to put it against the meetings? I said, yeah, let's do that. And you okay it. So now this Cooper Street Bakery receipt went into your profit loss account, obviously without VAT. If you had the receipt, it will go green because it takes a priority of it, okay? You can always go back and change it if you found the receipt at a later date, but it's just getting a bit too complicated. So now I know that all these don't have a receipt, but I know they're connected with meetings. Does it make sense? Yeah?
Yeah, that does, thanks. Just as a general rule of thumb, I mean, you also talked about HMRC and they're wanting invoices and receipts and stuff like that. How, if you miss the odd Starbucks one, are they kind of okay with it? Or do you have to have receipts for everything that you claim?
You've got the trace. And I know Starbucks is VAT registered. Everything you're going to be buying there, it's going to have a VAT on it if you stay in. But if you go out, if it's a cold or hot, so there would be differences within the VAT. So with Starbucks, for example, without receipt, I wouldn't claim any VAT because it could be anything on it. The same with fuel. You could have bought fuel, but also a Kit Kat and a coffee. So if I don't have a receipt from the client and they're VAT registered, I process the expense, but I'm not going to claim the VAT without a VAT receipt. So it's a good practice, regardless if you VAT registered or not, to put the VAT through.
Cool.
Okay.
So as long as it goes through the business account, so it shows up on the business account as Starbucks, then it's fine. You can put it through as an expense, but not the VAT. Yes. What happens if you just happen to do it through your personal account by mistake, and then don't have the receipt? Can you still claim that, or is that a complete no?
Well, there's also an option that once you do self-assessment action 10, you can pull these out from the your personal account and claim it through your a director's expenses. So you can go through your personal bank account, and then you probably will be on a wage, and and then you file your tax return with your wage and your dividends, and then you can deduct these as additional expenses which haven't gone through the business. Or you can link your personal account with the Xero, but that's not a very good practice. So I would, you know, I wouldn't worry about it really.
Use a business account.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know it's annoying, but it's just, look, receipts and business is very important. I'm a bookkeeper. We call it, we are the extended arm of HM and Customs. So I can only tell you about the regulations, but if I have no receipts, it's very difficult to claim it. So
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
yeah, okay. So this is how the Xero works. So eventually, so all these items which you can see on the bank reconciliation are not on balance sheet and not on profit and loss account until you click the OK. So if you think, oh, I know I made the sales, how come my profit loss account is not showing? It's because you haven't processed these yet. They need to be okayed first before they hit the profit and loss account. So if I say, what calls, I don't know what that is, but what was it? The e-bank department. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm just gonna search. It isn't. So this might be like in the internal transfer, you know, and you also need to account for any injection of money. So let's say you know, it's a new bank and you have just put £1,500 in the bank account. You need to account for that for. It's a loan to your business, and you can always take the £1,500 back, which you're not going to be taxed on. This is the loan. It's a director's loan. So when you're buying a property and you're putting £30,000 deposit to buy a property by a limited company, this £30,000 should go through the business bank account. You need to account for it. Needs to be processed there as money you loaned to the limited company. So the way you do it, you put this money into the bank account. So again, you can set it up as a rule that every time there's an e-bank department, it's your money you put in. Or you just put create, I put Joanna's name on as a contact, so you will appear there every time I type Joe as an offer, and then there'll be director's loan. There's a director's loan account, so that means you put the money in there. Okay, so director's loan injection. Obviously, there's no VAT. There's no VAT on intermoney transfers, on wages, on repayment of the loans, on payment to HM Customs. Okay. Never, even though your VAT register is a no VAT, this item is never should never appear on your VAT return. Okay, so it's no VAT, regardless if you VAT register or not. So now the business owes you £1,500. So if I did it next time, now see Xero, even though I didn't set it up as a rule as yet, Xero think, hang on a minute, I've seen this before. Is this correct? And you say okay, or you go to the bank rules, set up a bank rule, and it will ask, okay, so every time we see e-bank, you can equal or just contains, and I say it's Joanna's money, and it's a personal loan, or loan, doesn't matter, director's loan, no VAT, and we put your name. Okay, and then that's, and all the bank account, just in case you got a few more. So it still offers it to you because you've seen it before, regardless if you set up a bank rule or not. So it's now here. Now you set up as a bank rule, and it will go against your name. If you thought, did I set it up correctly? You can click on edit rule and just check that you put it as a director's loan rather than director's remuneration, because that's an expense. So you can always go back and change it, or you can delete it if there's a confusion. You can also go back. So every time it comes from Barclays, that would be your bank account again. That would know it's your money, or if your name is in it. So if you send money from other sources, you can set it up again and we'll pick up on it. So then you go to, so we've got the bills, we've got the invoices, we've got the bank reconciliation. So what you want to achieve, there's no items left, and this balance is the same, and your bank account has got exactly the same balance too. That's what the bank reconciliation is for. You need to make sure that XERO has got exactly the same information as bank account. That's bank reconciliation. We run the bank reconciliation report because, okay, it's one thing, but sometimes the bank duplicates the feeds, or there might be some feeds missing. So you really need to make sure that whatever says on the bottom of here as a balance is the same as your bank account. Okay, that is what the bookkeepers do. They reconcile the bank, because the OK is not reconciliation, it's just allocating to the nominal account. So once you do that, you can run your profit loss account. So you go to accounting and reports. Here you can see all the reports. If there's reports you want to see on a regular basis, you just put the star in there and they will appear within the star sections. So you can also remove them. It's like, oh, I'm not interested in that. Summary now. I don't want to see summary, but I want to see details. I always want to see details. I don't get the summary, but anyway. So then you click on your profit and loss account. And this is where you see how your business is doing. So whoever does tracking, they should be able to see each property, profit loss for each property. If you don't have it on the separate, you will see the same. And then you can select few years if you wanted to. So you can see every single year showing next to each other. Yes? Dee?
Hi. Yes, sorry, it was a separate question, so I can wait. I can wait until you finish that one.
Okay. So once you reconcile your bank, you should be able to see your profit loss account in the figures. If the bank sits the way it should, then the profit loss account will have the correct information then you need to work with. Okay. So you've got your turnover, you've got your direct expenses. So then it gives you your gross profit. And then these are all your overheads. And then it will tell you your total cost of overhead and your profit. Obviously, at the moment, the tax is 19%. So you can, 81% of this should be your dividends, but there's few items which need to be adjusted, like depreciation, and have a look at your payroll if you do have any, because that's journals. That's not necessarily going just through the bank. So that will give you some sort of indication how healthy your business is. Okay. And if you do profit first, like we do, then just opening your bank account, you will see how much dividends is allocated to you, how much money you should be paying yourself. I don't know if anybody of you read the book, but it's just fantastic. I open my bank account and I know straight away how much dividends I can take. Because what happens is if you took more money than you loaned and more money than your business is profitable, then you overdraw your director's loan. So that means you borrow money, is the other way. You borrowed money from your business. And if you don't return it 9 months after the year end, you are going to be taxed, or the business is going to be taxed 32.5% of the overdrawn director's loan. So it's very important you don't take more money than you should from the business. Okay, sorry, it's my dog chewing something. So it's important to keep a track of either through profit first, setting up the bank account so you know where you're up to, or check how profitable you are, how many dividends you take. You can see that on your balance sheet if you're interested in that. So you should be able to see. So if this was Joe's business, let's have a look. Update 1 year. So if this is what Joe's business, so she can, where are we, 2003, I need today. So if this is Joe's business, she can see she's got the £1,500 she loaned in there. So you can track how much money you put in and how much you've already taken out. Okay, and if we include wages, if you were employed by the limited company or accountant, or this is something we do, we process the payroll into it. If you didn't want to take it out, but the money could sit there until the business have got money to pay you for all the work you've done. So this is another report where you can see how much money is in your bank account, how much assets. So here will be the property, Joe, you bought. That will be the property you're gonna flip. Although maybe in your case, actually, if it's for flipping, it will be within expenses rather than assets. But if you bought the property for renting, this is where the property is going to be, and it's going to show. And there will be money you put in. The £30,000 of deposit will be here, so you can keep a track of how much money the business is owing you. So these are the reports for.
Amazing. Apologies, I was cooking my dinner, so apologies if I missed this, and I can always catch up on the recording. You
Okay.
talked about having a profit loss for each property.
You can do, yeah, through tracking.
Set those up individually. I saw you set up the company, but I didn't see it set up each individual property.
No, I haven't done that, but it's
Right.
it's through tracking. So you just each property you put tracking, and then each report. So you saw the word region in the invoice. So when you do the invoice, and you can do that index, you allocate that invoice into each region, or tracking. It doesn't have to be region. It could be name property, because it will adjust, and then you will see. So you can have each profit and loss account for each property. I mean, this demo is not set up that way, but yes, you will run report and profitability of each property.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. So I think I exhausted everything. I think for now, I think an hour is plenty. Dee, did you have that specific question?
Yeah, sorry. It's all. I'm very new to this. This is a very basic question. So suppose I buy a laptop,
Okay.
for the business, either pre-setting up the business, so I don't have the business hasn't been set up yet, or once I've set it up. Can that go through what you've just said?
Yes. So
And sorry, and the second question, while it's still in my head, sorry, that money that I loaned to the company that you were showing with Joanna, is there a set time to pay that back, or is that just something that I would decide?
no.
Right, thank you.
So the money can sit there forever. There are businesses who actually, people who injected hundreds of thousands into the business and it folded, and the business never repaid them because there was no cash to repay. So HRS doesn't care when you're gonna get paid your money back, but it really cares if you take money out and it wants the money back within the 9 months. Otherwise, the business is gonna be taxed at 32.5%.
Right.
And
okay.
if the business folds and you still owe money to it, then it will go through a self-assessment tax return as an extra income. So you really need to keep an eye on how much money the business owes you. So you shouldn't really go to minus. It should only be money sitting there for you.
So that's something an accountant or bookkeeper would help me with.
Yes.
Okay, so
With the profit first, and the separate accounts for it, you will keep an eye on it through just looking in your bank account. You don't need to have a look at reporting. If you set up the bank accounts properly, that for each type of tax and the profit and your personal income, then you will never get to overdrawn director's loan, because it's a major thing. It's just, you're a separate entity. The money is not yours. So you mustn't take the money out. So I've got clients who make it as go to the cinema, go to Asda, go, for holidays. And it's all drawings, even though they feel they're spending money for something. This is not taxable expense, but it will go against the 1,500, and it will go down and down. And now there's 500 left, and then there's minus 500 owed because they use the business account for private purposes. So it's very good practice to keep it separate. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
And then when you were talking about the computer, so if you bought it from your personal account, so what you do, you either upload the invoice like I said before. So you go bills to pay, you go to queries. Okay, bills to pay.
Excuse me, that would be, I'm thinking if you buy the laptop prior to having the business account, and also if you have the business account. So say I buy it today and then I get another one later. So would this apply? The same principle applies for both?
Yes. So if it was a new and you bought it, let's say, month before you started the business, and you're just gonna put it to the business for the use of the business, so you can either set up a new bill. There's ways to upload it through the app. If you ever had the app, you just take a picture of the receipt and then upload the same information as you can see here. So you put queries, new contacts. You bought the laptop from personal account. So you put laptop, usually you put what type it is so you can depreciate it. Limited company, it's quite important to know what you actually bought because of the first year allowance and annual allowances. So it's good, especially if you get rid of it, so you know which laptop you no longer have. So you put let's say Samsung XYZ, whatever that is, and you pay, I don't know, £1,500 for it. And then what you do then, you go through assets, which is 700, right? And then you see computer equipment, because you're going to be depreciated. So if it's an asset which you should have longer than 1 year, you put it within assets. So you put computer equipment. If you're VAT registered, you use the VAT. If you're not VAT registered, you put no VAT. Okay, and then it sits there, and you can drag and drop the receipt. And then because you know it's paid, then you paid it on the 20th and you paid it through the personal account. So it doesn't sit there anymore, and it's been paid, and that's it. And it's no longer outstanding. And then you do add payment. If you then go to Caris and use your business bank account, so you can produce that Caris invoice like I did say now, and then you will see Caris here. Here we'll see what we got here. So let's say you bought it from Wilson's Online Periodicals. Oh, that's in. I don't have any more invoices. So the word Caris would appear here. Yeah, let's say as money out. So you can either put Caris again, and then you spend money on the computer. So it will be, let's say, Acer XYZ, and you're VAT registered. And what you do, so if you didn't want to bother with the receipt, oh yeah, stop it. So if you've got the receipt, yeah, again, you can drag and drop it here, so we'll attach it, or you can go through the bills and then link it. So there's plenty of ways how you can do that, and then you do save transaction, and now you will see the bill attached to it. So when you go here, sorry Joe, I'm with you in a second. So when you go to here, it's on transactions. Have I got the Caris here? Caris here. So when you see here, that's the Caris, and then there's the receipt attached, so you can see it there. Yes, Joe.
Oh, sorry, can I just add to that? Excuse me. Thank you. So do you have a length of time to put that receipt in? So say I buy the laptop today and I set up my company in, I don't know, 2 years' time. Would you still be able to do that?
I believe services was 6 months.
Okay.
And assets prior setting up limited company. I think it was either 3 years or 1 year. You also no, that's not. I think there's a limit. Yeah, here it is. Can you set up a company? I'll find out for you. I know services definitely, when we talked about the training, it was half a year. For services, yeah.
They said something about something else. Expenses was 7 years.
6 or 7 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was for VAT purposes then, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, with the laptop, it's not gonna, after 4 years, it's not.
No, I know. I'm just thinking, just it might not be a laptop. I was just thinking, that just came to my mind now. Thank you. That's really helpful.
Okay.
I might not remember it all. I look at the recording.
No, that's okay. Absolutely fine. Yes, Joe.
I think we're all going to be referring to this recording. Thank you.
That's fine.
Just wanted to clarify, if anything we put against the personal account, does that come under like director's loan as money that we can then take out the account? Yeah.
Yeah. So what, at the end of the year, what I usually do, I transfer the personal against the director's loan. So we'll increase the director's loan. So it no longer will be 1,500, but it will be, you know, £3,250.
Oh yeah, cool, lovely, thank you.
Yeah.
And do you only take that out at the end of the year, or can I, as a director, take that out whenever I want?
You can do it anytime. You just need to make sure you don't take more than.
Yeah, as long as there's enough money there to cover it.
Yeah. So what the money you can take out tax-free is the director's loan and your net wage if you're employed. Then the other money you can take out from a company is dividends, but that's after the tax you paid as a corporation. And obviously that's a taxable again on your self-assessment tax return. So that's why directors need to file their self-assessment tax returns.
Cool. Lovely. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, cool. So if anybody had any questions like later or we're a bit shy, this is my business. You can always drop me a line, and I love XERO, so I love sharing the knowledge of that. And then but the XERO at the moment is it definitely try the free trial. I think they were offering 50%, but I'm not sure if it's longer, if it's available at the moment. And that'll be it. So I hope I could be at least helpful. But yes, if I will post the recording on WhatsApp, I assume. I've never done it before. So if it's
sorry, I was going to say, if you want to send me the link, I can then add it into the spreadsheet that everybody is using. To the Google Drive, so it then doesn't take up so much room on your own Zoom account.
Alice, can I ask you one more question, please?
Of course.
With regards to director's loan, let's say if I have a JV and I have to pay interest on it, so is it allowed, and how is it accounted for?
So well, it will be definitely expense to the limited company, yes, but it depends who got the JV. So was the limited company got the JV? So there's a contract between between the person who gave you the money or the company and your limited company. So yes, absolutely. So it will not be director's loan as such, because if the JV gave money to you and then you put the money in the limited company, that would be director's loan, because the contract would be between you and the person. But if it's the contract between the limited company and it's on the and the person who, or the company who gave you the money, it's already a loan within the. So you will see on balance sheet should have a separate reference of a loan, because you can have a credit card, you can have business loans, there was bounce back loan. So every single loan, I recommend have a separate nominal account, so you can track the balance, the interest. The interest doesn't necessarily appear every month, so at least once a year, put the interest through before the year end. So the accountant should ask for the statements every year for all your loans. Okay, it could be HP as well. You might get a car. It could be any finances if you bought like electric car for the limited company. Again, there will be some interest in. So all this, if the contract is with the limited company, needs to appear there. So yeah, the interest would be expense.
Cool. But normally, if you were doing a JV with someone, you would have a joint account, right? So you would putting the money into the same bank account.
It depends what the contract says.
An investor, right? So
yes,
their money would be going into a client account, but your limited company would be paying them an interest on that. So that's almost like an invoice that comes from the client account. Their business needs to raise you an invoice for their interest, right?
It doesn't have to have an invoice for interest, but yes, it will be an expense. So it depends how it works with the agreement. So if it goes in the bank account, yes, but the bank account needs to be linked to a loan. So there has to be debit and credit side. So it's either it will be loan and account, and if it's going to be additional account where you put both put money, and on the top will have a normal running account, doesn't matter, but it still has to have a loan account and a bank account. Yes, absolutely, it doesn't matter. It just depends who puts the money in, and that's what matters. If it's given to you, and then there will be Cholpan and Joe having bank account somewhere personally, and then you transfer it to the limited company, I think that would be counted as director loan. But if Joe and Cholpan would be directors, and then it would be a limited company, then it would be a loan in a risk. I would just need to see what's on the contract, how it works. So it really depends who loans you the money and how it actually works.
So, yeah, but if for example, sorry, if for example I have got money from somewhere else and
Yeah.
put it into the company as a director's loan, can I charge then interest on that loan to the company?
You can charge, yeah, you can charge loan interest on the director's loan, yes.
Okay.
There's
All right,
also
thank you.
intercompany. So I've got my biking bookkeeper and I've got my property company. And biking bookkeeper loaned money to my limited company because it's not a director's loan. So it can be as long as I want without being charged the 32.5% because it's an intercompany loan. And I can charge the interest to my property company. That makes sense. And that's the same, you can charge it, but then it's your income and it needs to go on your self-assessment action 10 because the interest will be your personal income. So you can charge it.
Oh, okay.
But then
So,
you can't
okay, that's
yeah. So sometimes it's just not worth it. You can
Mhm.
do, obviously, yes, of course you can.
right.
Especially if you're paying interest somewhere else. So I've got a guy who bought a van, but it worked out better through his own interest, through his own person. And then he sort of provided it to the company. So the V5 is on the limited company and they did loan between him and his limited company. So he used the same interest. So he had interest he paid from his personal bank account and interest received from the limited company. So 0 and 0 worked out. So he didn't miss out, but also had no income. So then, yes, it made sense to charge the limited company interest
Mhm.
because he has interest
Okay.
on, you know, from his person. So yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alice. That was
Amazing, amazing. Thank
Okay,
you so
thank
much.
you. It's my first, so
You did really well. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
okay, thank you. Is it okay if is it okay if I do a sort of a print screen and then just post it on my LinkedIn? Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so I'm
So-
just gonna do print screen and then just so 3, 2, 1, smile. Thank you. So I'll post it on LinkedIn. So I just diverged myself from first proper presentation. So this is what
always good to help on social media.
yeah, okay. Lovely. But look, seriously, if you do like, I just don't know how to do this. This is so annoying, or you know, just don't spend hours on it. Just drop me a line, and so you find me on LinkedIn or you've got my number on WhatsApp, so it's not a problem. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Have a
thank
wonderful
you.
Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank
Thanks
you.
very
Have a
much.
good
Bye,
day.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.